Is in countdown.
So there are a couple great callouts. Both stages are now pressurizing for launch. Range remains go. The weather did clear earlier and has remained green. So all
Falcon 9, CRS 24, go for launch.
That's the launch director calling go for launch. We'll get an all systems go here in just a few seconds, and then we'll listen into the rest of the count.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition.
Liftoff. Cargo Dragon soars with the final supply run in 2021 for the astronauts aboard the International Space Station.
Downrange.
Stage 1 chamber pressure is nominal.
Plus 40 seconds into flight, Falcon 9 and Dragon have cleared the tower. You can see him passing through the cloud layers right now. Next up, in just a few seconds here, is Max Q. This is where the vehicle will experience the highest amount of aerodynamic pressures.
Falcon 9 and Hypersonic.
And there's the call for Max Q. Through that period of high pressure on the vehicle, the engines on the first stage are now throttling back up as we continue to make our journey to orbit. Coming up in about a minute are 3 events in rapid succession. First up is main engine cutoff, also known as MECO,
engine followed
by stage separation, and then second engine start, also known as SES1. Main engine cutoff is where all 9 engines on the first stage will shut off in preparation for the second event, stage separation. During stage separation, the first and second stages will separate from one another. The first stage makes its way back to the drone ship for a landing attempt, and the second stage will ignite its Merlin vacuum engine and continue to boost Dragon to low Earth orbit. Again, those are going to be happening in rapid succession in about 15 seconds here.
MECO. Stage separation confirmed. INVAC ignition.
You heard the callouts. We see it on screen. Successful main engine cutoff, followed by successful stage separation, and then ignition of our Merlin vacuum engine. On the left-hand side of the screen, the first stage, again, it's making its way back to Earth, but it's still being illuminated by the second stage Merlin vacuum engine there. So if you are just joining us, you're watching a live webcast for the 24th commercial resupply mission to the International Space Station for NASA. This is SpaceX's 31st mission for 2021 and the 5th Dragon flight to the International Space Station this year. A couple of views on screen. The right-hand side of the screen is a view of the Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage. The Dragon capsule carrying all of the wonderful holiday treats and science is on the opposite end of that engine. Again, that is continuing to run smoothly as it makes its way to orbit. On the left-hand side of the screen is the first stage. You'll notice some honeycomb-like structures. There's 2 of them on screen right now. Those are our hypersonic grid fins. They're positioned at the top of the first stage booster. There are 4 of them actually, and those will start to swivel and move around to make sure that they are guiding the first stage back to its targeted landing zone. For today's mission, it's going to be the drone ship Just Read the Instruction, which is parked in the Atlantic Ocean. Next event for our mission today is going to be the first stage entry burn. It's going to be the first of 2 burns. In order to make its way back to our drone ship, the first stage has to execute these 2 burns. The first, again, is the entry burn, where 3 of our Merlin engines will reignite. This helps to slow the stage down as it re-enters the upper parts of the Earth's atmosphere. The second burn is the landing burn. This happens about a minute later. This is a single engine burn that will bring the vehicle speed down rapidly in order to land on the drone ship. So again, the first stage has 2 burns before it can make its first landing attempt on our drone ship. As we wait for that event, you might be interested to know that in order to get into space, the rocket actually has to do more than go up. It actually has to go sideways really, really fast. At liftoff, gravity is pulling straight down on the rocket, and as we ascend, we tilt the engines, a term called gimbaling, and that turns the rocket horizontally. So we're still going up, but we're also heading horizontally away from the launch pad in what we call a gravity turn.
Stage 1 FTS is safe.
Things continue to go smoothly for both the first and second stages. Again, the first stage entry burn
follow nominal trajectory.
should start in about 10 seconds.
Stage 1 entry burn is in startup.
And there it is. 3 Merlin engines have reignited their engines and are now currently slowing down the first stage. This burn is expected to last about 30 seconds. And you can see the velocity on the bottom left-hand side of the screen. We're starting to decrease significantly.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
So great news. That is burn 1 of 2 complete. The Falcon 9 first stage is also equipped with 4 landing legs made of state-of-the-art carbon fiber with aluminum honeycomb. They're placed around the base of the rocket and deployed just prior to landing. So we are about 60 seconds away from landing the vehicle, and we're traveling a significant velocity right now, and this really puts into perspective the deceleration that the first stage will experience. In less than the span of a minute, we'll reduce from twice the speed of a jet all the way down to 0 as the rocket lands.
Stage 1 is transonic.
The first stage landing burn is expected to start here in about 20 seconds and last for about 25 seconds. So during the duration of that burn, we are going to be listening for the call out for SECO, which stands for second engine cutoff. The Merlin vacuum engine that you see on screen, we're going to be shutting off that engine and then listening for another call out for a confirmation of good orbit,
Stage
where
1
the second
burn.
stage will coast for a few minutes before separating Dragon.
Stage 2 FTS is
We don't
safe.
have views of the first stage right now. Looks like we got it back, and the landing burn
Stage 1
is
landing
currently
leg deploy.
underway.
Invac shutdown.
Stage 1 landing is confirmed.
So hopefully we get some visuals. There it is. So this is the
Nominal
first
orbit
landing for this particular booster, but the 100th successful landing for an orbital class rocket. What a way to end off the year. We also heard that the second stage engine, the Merlin vacuum engine, successfully shut off its engine. And we're going to pause here to see if we can confirm a good orbit of the second stage.
Expected loss of signal, Cape. Acquisition signal, Newfoundland.
So again, this is a view of the Merlin vacuum engine. The Dragon capsule with all of its supplies is on the opposite end of that engine. And I am getting confirmation that we do indeed have a good orbit. So the second stage is going to be coasting for a few minutes here. This is a view of the unpressurized cargo section of the Dragon. So the second stage right now is making some small adjustments during the coast phase prior to separation. We should also have video of Dragon separating from the top of the second stage itself. It should give us a nice view of that. The view we just saw of the unpressurized cargo section as Dragon will slowly depart away from the second stage. Dragon is going to be joining the Crew 3 vehicle Endurance that is currently attached to the International Space Station and on orbit. And as always, it's always exciting to see two Dragons docked at the space station at the same time. Speaking of cargo, today we'll be delivering, as part of today's mission, we'll be delivering more than 6,500 pounds of science, research, crew supplies, and vehicle hardware to the orbiting lab and its crew. This includes all the science and supplies and holiday treats that we talked about earlier in the broadcast, and I'm sure the crew is looking forward to that. So we're just under a minute for Dragon to separate from the top of the second stage. Again, this is a cargo mission, so there is no crew aboard the Dragon as part of today's mission. And in fact, we will modify the vehicles slightly for these types of missions. So there are no seats, there are no life support systems. This saves weight. It also frees up some space for more cargo, and it also allows us to refurbish the Dragon a little bit quicker once it splashes back down to Earth in about a month.
Expected loss of signal, Bermuda.
So we are
Stage
expecting
separation
Dragon to
confirmed.
separate any
Or
second
Dragon
now.
separation.
And there it goes. Again, this camera view is on the second stage, looking at the Dragon's unpressurized cargo section. The Dragon has about a day before it makes its way to the International Space Station and docks. Coming up is nose cone opening sequence. But that is going to do it for me here in Hawthorne. I'm going to hand it over to Shaniqua in Houston for the next mission milestones.
Thanks, Andy. And everything is still going well back here in Mission Control, Houston. And right after Dragon separated, it began a series of automatic checkouts, including small firings of the Draco maneuvers thrusters. The next milestone is nose cone deploy. The nose cone protects the docking hardware and rendezvous tracking elements of the top of Dragon during ascent. The nose cone deploy uncovers the 4 forward bulkhead thrusters, which Dragon will use for its major burn maneuvers to catch up with the space station. Once open, the nose cone will stay in that position until the very end of its mission, closing prior to re-entry to provide some additional protection to that same hardware during re-entry. So right now we're waiting to hear confirmation that the nose cone is fully deployed. And after confirmation, we'll have one of the program managers here join me on console. Join me virtually, sorry. You're currently seeing live views of the International Space Station Flight Control Room. You currently see Flight Director Adi Boulos standing as we wait for that final confirmation of NOSCON deploy. Now joining me on the phone is Manager of the International Space Station Transportation Integration Office, Phil Dempsey. Hi, Phil. Can you outline some of the major activities for the crew with CRS-24?
Sure. Thanks, Shaniqua. First of all, let me just say, it's great to watch this outstanding launch, kind of watching through the weather and managed to get a shot through, and great to see Dragon catch up tomorrow. This mission enables well over 500 hours of research, some of which actually has to be completed before the vehicle undocks again in about 30 days, so the samples can be returned to investigators. As always, research is a key activity during this mission. We've also got the transfer of 2 external payloads, SCP-H7 and H8, from the Dragon trunk to their locations on ISS. And then there's work to prepare for spacewalks planned later in the increment in the coming months. There's several maintenance activities with hardware showing up on this mission. And then we have a software transition plan. So, overall, a lot really going on during the 30 days or so that this CRS-24 is on to enable all of this work.
That's awesome. Thank you, Phil. And of course, these resupply missions and you deliver science, as you mentioned, hardware and other cargo to the station. But with these critical deliveries to the station, how important are they for the astronauts? You said over 500 research activities and experiments. How important is that for us to do on the International Space Station?
Yeah, so these missions are absolutely critical. The International Space Station is operating for the purpose of doing research and technology demonstration. So, we've got over 24 different experiments going up on this. These 500-600 hours of crew time that it enables are key to what the astronauts are there for in the first place. And what's unique about these SpaceX missions is that we get the return science back down in about a month. So operation of these experiments around this full mission timeline is critical. In addition, we've got hardware going up, as you heard, which is critical to some of the maintenance activities. We've got some hardware that's going up to get one of our exercise devices, a new spare back in place for it, and some additional hardware for our EMUs, which are used for the spacewalks that we've got. But then there's also updated supplies for the crew. Of course, Christmas dinner, hopefully, and some Christmas presents for the crew, which is always a treat for them to get on these types of missions. So absolutely all of this is critical to keep the crew occupied doing what they're there for in the first place.
Thanks, Phil. And